Well, the sun goes down and the orgies begin. The Epicureans jealous jerk off on the hill. Torn again between the need to fuck and this goddamn urge to kill. Still smell your pussy on my fingertips, the closest thing I ever known to love. It smells worse than a betrayal, but better than our boneless baby boy burning aborted in hell. I'll never say never again, but I'd love to carve the words into your skin. Subcutaneous, deep enough to crack the bone, and then everyone in the world will know that you're a liar. You're such a liar, a dirty, stinking liar. I know your address, you piece of shit. Well, you're kinda like slime, whining all the time to find a sense of your neckwood. Well, it's a statement in vain for someone such a waste. There are bills to take care of that pain. But I'd rather use a noose that seems to rope around the room where my nose line meets up with my numbskull. There's nothing left to clutch for the vertigo, but I'm never gonna know. I'm so different now. I'm so much more honest now. I'm so much better now. Better than you. I'm so different now. I'm so much more honest now. I'm so much stronger now. And I'm never going down. I still smell the latex sagging solid off my sorry side. Well, you're dead now, but I have to lay down with your baby next to the regret and the fetid remains. So I think I'm ready to experiment with the double-barrel shotgun on my lips. The rubber meets the road on the highway to hell. I'm gonna give you road head all the way down without a single damn baby. Well, goddamn big baby, your dick tastes good, baby. Goddamn. Let me be your IMD. Let me be your infertility. Let me be the reason that no one ever loves you again. Don't let me forget your hideousness, unless I start considering forgiveness. Oh, I believe in Jesus, but I'm not him. Quite the opposite. Hail Satan, hail Satan, hail Satan, hail Satan. Oh, I believe in Jesus, but I'm not him. So fuck him. Yeah, my body is a vessel for the devil's evil message. My body is a vessel for the devil's evil message. My body is a vessel for
But alright. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 8 of the Landfill Lounge. So today, a lot of what today is, right, is, so I have a friend, like, I know IRL and stuff, but he's on Discord, right, and he likes to he doesn't send me links to videos, right, he sends me, like, screenshots of the videos, right, like, of the thumbnail. So it's like, for example, it's not going to be a link to something about, like, let's see, I'm not going to pull it up just yet, right? But, like, for example, the first video he sent me on the Discord, right, was Fart Fetishist Interview Dash Raj, right? He didn't send me a link to that. He sent me a picture of the thumbnail for the video. And so a lot of what today is going to be me trying to find these videos and reacting to them. Because sometimes he'll send me ones that are like, what was it? He'll send me ones that have that are the screenshot and the title is something crazy, right? But then the actual video itself is not. Like, for example, there's one that he sent me a while back. It was saying the title of the video was Genshin Impact's new skip feature is exactly what Hitler warned us about, right? But it was just a guy complaining about the fact that it's not a real skip feature. It just means you can now press A to skip lines. So instead of having to spam A over and over and over again until eventually it skips, you just press A once and it goes to the next thing, and you don't have to sit there and watch the animations, right? But and it's just like stuff like that where it's like, you would think if you see the title of the video, that it's some crazy claim trying to associate the Genshin Impact skip feature with Hitler, but it's not, right? And so I want to go through these videos and see what they're all about and stuff. There are some I'm gonna go ahead and say now I'm not gonna react to, right? But not because I think they're too far or anything like that. Hell, I watched a documentary on stream about a guy who shoves bugs in his urethra, right? Too far is not a concern of mine, right? What I'm not gonna pull up on stream are reaction videos. Like, for example, there's one here, or like some of these I'm not gonna pull up. Like, for example, there's this one here, right? Guess her age challenge. We failed re-upload. That one I'm not gonna watch because it looks like it's just two people like trying to guess people's age, and based on the captions on the thumbnail, right? They didn't they got it way off, right? Or like there's one that it says worst gooning accidents ever, and it shows a guy doing the cliche reaction face, right? With a guy and a horse in the bed, right? I'm not going to look up the reaction video. Now, if I can find the actual video that involves the guy fucking a horse, right? That this guy's reacting to, okay, I'll watch that, right? But I'm not going to watch a guy react to somebody. I think the reacting to a reaction is like cringe meta. And so that's not happening, right? But, or let me see another one that I'm going to see here. Or yeah, or this one here, it's this guy, Young Dabo, and says, I'm creaming everywhere, his Zenless Zone Zero reaction. I'm not going to watch that. It's just a guy reacting to Zenless Zone Zero. Like, I'm not going to watch that one. But the other ones, I'll try to pull those ones up, right? But, and then, let's see. And then, okay, but one of the things I wanted to talk about before I got too crazy into things, right, is This also episode is kind of dedicated to things I've seen on YouTube that annoy me a lot, right? Like, a good example of that is, so a while back I was watching this guy, right? And his channel's like genetically modified theologist or something like that. I'm not going to show my YouTube history on screen, but I'm going to pull up my history because I can probably find him. Because I go on rabbit holes and stuff when I fall asleep. Where is this dude? If I can just find it, I want to say his channel name and stuff, right? Before I go and just start shit talking him, basically. No, why is it so fucking hard to find this dude? Genetically Modified Skeptic is what his channel name is, right? And there was a video there's a video he made where he was discussing like the hypocrisy of Christianity, right? And one of the points he was making was about religion changing in the past, right? And in the video, he's watching this pastor guy, who's trying to say that trying to like justify the idea that Christianity decided to say slavery was wrong, which it is wrong, right? And then he was like, well, if you could just simply say slavery's wrong and stuff like that, even though the Bible says it's okay, then why can't you just say being gay is okay? Even though the Bible says it's not, right? And for context, before I say what I'm about to say here, right, I just want to say I grew up Baptist and also very literalist with Baptist, right? Like, I was the kind of person that believed everything the Bible said happened beyond a shadow of a doubt, right? If any historian were to say we don't know what happened before insert year here, I'd be like, well, yes, we do. Have you read the Bible? I was raised very hardcore religious, right? And like, and I can, and but so, and here's the thing, right? The reason you're never going to convince somebody to change their ways in that regard. And same thing with Curtis Connor. He did a video too talking about Dr. Witnesser, right? And he was talking about like Christianity being anti-gay and stuff. And I honestly, his made me more annoyed because he was like, you didn't know that your religious founders were wrong, so it should be fine, acting like as if, like, I don't know, but okay, my point is, right, the reason why with Christianity that that Christians can say slavery is wrong while saying being gay is also wrong, even though the Bible says slavery is okay, is look at it like this, right? So, let's say your mom came up to you one day, put her hand on your shoulder and said, "Son, I don't mind if you smoke crack, right?" Hold on, I just want to make sure my mic's not muted. Okay. I just want to make sure I was going to feel real stupid. But let's say your mom came up to you, put her hand on your shoulder and said, "Look, son, it's okay if you smoke crack, right? You can still decide for yourself that smoking crack is not okay. If anything, that just means, oh, cool. I'm just glad to know my mom's not going to be pissed off if I smoke crack, But, and that's the whole slavery thing, right? But with the being gay thing, it's basically asking, it'd be basically like the scenarios, if your mom came up and said, if you ever smoke crack, don't you ever smoke crack. Crack is not okay. And you said, actually, Mom, crack is okay, and you need to get over it. It's 2026 now. You see how that works? You can make the point that you can be told something is okay and still decide for yourself that it's not okay. But if you get told something's not okay, you can't just be like, actually, it is. You know? And it's the same thing with like, but what was I gonna say? It's funny because I'm saying this stuff, but it kind of lines up with all my criticisms about like Mormonism, why I don't agree with it, because they've changed a lot of their stuff on the okay, you know what? Actually, no, there's a difference, right? The difference is that between saying what's okay and what's not okay versus with Mormons, right? It's a matter of them saying he was wrong, like he was lying about something or whatnot. Like, for example, polygamy, right? Well, no, not polygamy, right? Oh yeah, no, it's with the black people thing, right? And I'm not racist, but this is actually a Mormon teaching, right? From back in the day, was that black people were the angels in heaven that didn't pick a side in the war in heaven, so they were cursed to have dark skin, and they couldn't hold a position of priesthood because of that, right? And stuff. And so for the Mormon church to turn around and say it's actually okay, you know, when racism stopped being as approved of a thing, you know, that's like saying that the religion was wrong then. And to me, the idea that you can change religion to meet political things, right, is further evidence your religion is wrong. Like a good example of that, Muslims, right? You know, I don't agree with them. I don't agree with their actions, right, and stuff. Like the terrorist ones and stuff like that, the bad ones, right? But I have to give credit where it is due, right? I know it's illegal in a lot of their countries to promote gay and stuff like that, right? But you'll never see a person who's in a high position in the Muslim church be like, we need to be more accepting. I know our book says that we should stone them and hang them and light them on fire, but we should start condoning it. You know, like the fact that they're loyal to their shit, right? I have to give credit to. The fact that they have never caved in like that. Let me make sure it's not showing my. Okay, good. Nah, well, oh yeah, I had a pillowcase duct taped to my window here. You can't really see the window because I had the angle. But my pillowcase just fell off, so I guess half my face is gonna be lit up because I don't want to turn on my light until like the sun goes down. So there's that. But and then trying to think, I was going somewhere with that. Oh yeah, and that leads me actually to another thing I was thinking about the other day, right? Well, kind of going into this topic too, right? Is that like okay, for context, and again, I know this is going to be a controversial take, but I have a but on this, right? I am fully one of those people. I'll admit I'm one of those people that it's like there's the two genders, you are what you're born with, all that stuff, right? I'm not going to sit here and lie to make people happy, right? But here is my counter to that, right? I am also respectful enough that if you are nice to me, I'll call you whatever the fuck you want me to call you, right? You know, if I go up to you and say sir, but you're a guy that's transgender and transitioning to a girl, right? And you tell me that you actually identify as a woman, fuck, I'll call you a woman. I don't care as long as you're not a dick about it, right? Like now, if you come up to me and say, if if I say excuse me, if I'm trying let's say I'm trying to get directions somewhere, right? And I come up to you and say, excuse me, sir, do you know where this goes? And you go, excuse me, it's ma'am, and all this other shit, right? I'm gonna be like, well, you look like you got a cock, so you're gonna have to prove that one. Otherwise, yeah. But because also, but no, and it goes into my point because there's two people I used to work with, right? I'm not gonna name drop the friend of mine, right? But I'll name drop the other one because the likelihood of that person ever seeing this stream. Well, you know what? Whatever. Well, I'll name drop the other one because the context, right? But there's this transgender female to male that I worked with named that went by Dusty, right? And my friend that was working with me at the time could not bring himself to call him Dusty, right? Or say him, right? He was like die hard on this is a hill he was willing to die on type shit, right? Like he'd be like, why? Dusty's a chick. Why would I say his? And stuff. And Dusty was threatening to kill him, right? Because he was like he was military and all this other stuff, right? Threatening to beat his ass, right? And I had to pull him off the side, like, look, no one's asking you to say his. No one's asking you to say hers. Just say their name. Like, if someone comes up, if somebody, like, let's say we're working and you see Dusty's drink on the counter, right? And someone says, hey, whose is that, right? And so you don't have to say, oh, that's his, or and point at Dusty, or oh, that's hers and point at Dusty. Just say, oh, that's Dusty's, or same thing. If someone says, whose car is that, right? Say, oh, that's Dusty's, You don't have to say, like, if you're worried, if you can't bring yourself to say the pronoun, I don't understand this. Call people by their name. Like, I'm fully for that. Like, also, I just realized the YouTube and Twitch delay. Because I have a speech chat TTS bot that reads off the chats of both, right? And no one's been in my chat yet. And right now, as of right now, it says on Twitch it was 23:30, 23:35, and on YouTube it's 23:34, right? So that means there is a 3-second delay between Twitch and YouTube. Let's see. No, I wish I could. No, I want to be able to have those both open. But okay. And that was basically the main part of my rant, right? Oh yeah, and actually another thing too, right, is shit, where was it? There was another thing too I wanted to rant about on YouTube that I saw. But basically, I'll just the TLDR of it, basically, of my rant, is that I don't like when people like try to convince religious people to just change their beliefs to match the times, right? Because like that just to me, it's like that's a huge ask to expect somebody to be like, especially like the Curtis Connor one makes me the maddest because the idea he was just like, I can't remember exact wording, but it was but something. He didn't use these words, so obviously I don't have the viewership to get him canceled over my wording, right? But like this wasn't exact words, but it was basically along the lines of how would you know that the founders of your religion were retarded and didn't know being gay was gonna be okay, like, and it's just like no, that's like I want to sit him down with a religious leader, right, and have him say to that person's face, hey, I get it. You didn't know Paul was a dumb son of a bitch, when he founded the church, right? Or go up to a Protestant preacher and say, look, man, God's a liar. Being gay is fine. And see how well that flies. Because it's not going to fly very well. But alright, enough of that. Oh yeah, one last thing I want to pull up, right? The whole inspiration for the name of my stream today. I just want to pull these up because this to me, it's so stupid. But it's also, to me, like, some of the funniest shit ever. Where is it at? This camera's doing me no favors, by the way. No. Alright, let me get my keyboard here. Okay. I just want to show the thing that was making me that's been making me laugh my ass off lately.
Freedom, freedom, freedom. There are no shorts, there are no hats. I know. I joined the Navy. I had the honor of f***ing men in the Navy. A glorious job. I learned some lessons along the way. Don't do. In the toilet. In fact, every day, I do. In the bed in the morning. No excuses. In the military, the best troops were the ones that took shifts in their bed in the morning. If you follow these principles, I promise you, daily execution.
Hi, everybody. Penis Prager here for Fartside, Shat. So I'm a part of the KKK, which, by the way, is true. But I love blacks. In fact, I want to be black to become, if you will, African American. So I can say the N-word. Why is that racist? By the way, do you know any blacks? Do they not exist? Everything exists. If you are one, drop me a line. I'm Penis Prager. I'm a black Chinese communist. I am a communist, and I love murder. I have killed 130 people. I'll explain. My parents died fighting the American people. I fell in love with North Korea at the age of 20. America is the only country in world history.
I'm going to have to speak in Chinese for Now, perhaps you'll protest. No.
I'm stuck. The answer to toxic masculinity is more toxic masculinity, right? The solution is obvious. Make men women. Every woman is evil. Here's a secret that every woman knows. Women pee. I don't know any woman.
I'm Penis Prager. Socialism is based because socialism enables healthcare. Here's an illustration. Women don't amount to a hill of beans. You heard me right. What exactly is the problem? The problem is women in general. I love topping men, and I get excited by virtually every male body at the beach. Male legs turn me on, etc., etc. So what? Yeah, it is a pleasure for you to meet me. You're welcome. I want my daughter-in-law and son to get married. When you think about it, we can now kill people. I don't know how many people think about that. They more should. But anyway, I want to die in Bulgaria.
But yes, this guy has a very tall Bart, right? Has a bunch of these videos, and they make me laugh my ass off every time I watch them. Like, there's one that made me laugh the most, right? I'm gonna switch back to the big screen one whenever before I get ready to pull up videos that my friend sent me, right? But the main one that made me laugh, right, was it had this segment where it's like I went into a Japanese bar, and you know what they said? Something in Japanese. All right, let's see here. I wonder, can I drag this over here? Nope. No. I was gonna, okay. God, this is gonna fucking really fuck my, YouTube recommended up a lot, but of course, I found that was the first video at the top of the list. Alright. Kind of ironic to have the first, I'm doing an episode called Fartside Shat, and the first video is an interview with a guy with a fart fetish. But alright, here we go.
All right, this will be an interesting one.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you call yourself, Raj?
What do you mean?
In terms of the fetish community, what do you refer to your fetish as?
I mean, the scientific name is proctophilia, but fart fetish.
A fart fetish. Mm-hmm. And you are into what and related to this? Receiving, giving?
No.
I know help me. I know
sure.
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it depends on who you are, but me personally, I'm into receiving.
Now I'm just laughing because this guy. So, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to finish watching this, but I have to ask, does this guy get a boner when he gets Dutch oven? Also, too, another thing, right, is, and he'll probably get into this, too, right, before, like, while I'm not going to do the jump ahead feature, but YouTube Premium, I love that feature. But what was it? But one thing I'm going to assume here is I'm assuming this guy is gay. Call me crazy, but I'm willing to bet on it.
And it's generally, or I would say always in my case, tied with like domination. Like they're inseparable for me. So being dominated kind of in a like cruel or I don't know, disregarded way, I suppose, is how I kind of look at it.
So you like being farted on.
That's right.
And what does that look like?
I mean, it takes many forms, I guess. I mean, I enjoy the face sitting aspect, so like the closeness of that, which can be clothed, nude. I don't really have a specific preference. Some people do.
Okay, another thing I'm gonna add here, right, is with the face sitting thing, right? I'm a virgin. Just gonna go ahead and throw that context out there, right? But like, wouldn't you want it nude? Like, not even from a sexual aspect, right? But I just imagine the idea of panties or pants or whatever they're wearing just mashing into your face to be as uncomfortable as shit, right? So it's like I'm sitting there thinking, like, especially if they got a soft ass, wouldn't you want the nudity part? So at least if you're gonna have someone sit on your face and fart on your face, it would at least you'd have that padding of an ass, right? Versus just jeans just mashing your face. Like I don't understand. Whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it, I guess.
Do you have to pay people to do this for you, or do you have girlfriends or maybe guy friends? I don't know.
Sure. I mean, I'm straight, so girlfriends in my case.
Okay, that's a twist I didn't expect. I expected this. I'm gonna admit, right? Call me what you want to call me, but I'm gonna admit I fully expected this guy to be gay. Like 100%, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I expected him to be gay. I'm gonna fucking that. I was about to say I'm gonna put a fucking sock in my mouth, but I'm just gonna eat my own words on that one. All right, you got me beat. You win.
But I would say generally, people would pay for it. I think it's a little more accessible on the homosexual side or gay farting. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely paid for it a fair amount through.
Also, the idea of paying for someone to fart in your face, like, see, I find farts funny, right? Like, obviously, if I was friends with this guy, he told me it turned him on, it would make me uncomfortable to fart in this dude's face, right? But if I didn't know he had a fart fetish and I didn't know he was jacking off to the idea of me, well, he said he's straight, so he's not jacking off to the idea of me farting in his face, right? But let's say he was, right? If he just kept that a secret from me, I'd be doing it just because I think it's funny. Like, the idea just like in his face while I'm sitting on the couch. I'd be none the wiser that he's got a boner.
Like prodom sessions, but I have connected with a girlfriend, a mistress, who has engaged or indulged me as well. So.
And are there certain people who have a proclivity to having more gas than others?
Probably.
I mean, it's crazy sometimes.
No, for sure. I mean, that's
also okay. Now I got to get into this again because it's another thing I just now thought about. Right, on the note of this guy's fart fetish, right? Is there a dietary preference, like, and then, like, for example, like, okay, I see already that there's domination, smell, and fantasy, so he's gonna get into the smell, right? But I have to add, now I'm curious, right? Does he, like, if he's gonna have a girl fart in his face, right? Is he one of those, any fart's a good fart, or does he, like, care about what they ate, you know? Is he, like, sitting there thinking, oh, I hope they ate something that's, like, they just had some, like, they just took some medication that made him gassy? Or is he the kind of person that's, like, fucking eat some chili with beans in it and a sloppy Joe on the side, baby? I want some chunks in your fart. I will say, okay, another thing, too, right, is how does it change if she sharts? Like, let's say she's farting on this dude's face, right? And she just fucking blasts his face with shit. Like, is he still okay with it? Oh, I'm just checking something here. All right. I'm gonna turn the audio down a little bit. And nope, not me. I'm dumb. I'm gonna turn this down just a tad. So I'm louder than the video.
It's hard to say for certain. I would say based on like people I've talked to, yes. But it really just depends. And I think some people talk about like, certain diets, or there's certain, I think there's sugar-free candy, which can be fairly gas-inducing. There's all kinds of nuance.
What kind of foods or what kind of meals would you have your...
Okay, I can say, they're going to get into the thing I asked about just now. But okay, I also want to say, yes, he is 100% right. I have eaten like sugar-free candy in the past, and I'm sitting here fucking beefing it up in my camper like, oh God, kill me. Because it's just like long, and they like are hard farts almost, like, like the ones that they don't like feel like it's stuff like, and all that stuff. But the ones that you feel like you're sitting on your bed and you fart and you feel your bed shake type shit, right? Like, so he is 100% right on that. That sugar-free candy is not good. Well, I mean, I guess if you're trying to fart, sugar-free candy is amazing for that, right? But if you're not, get the stuff with the sugar. I think it's the artificial sweetener.
Your date eat beforehand?
I mean, to be honest, I haven't thought about it that much. I guess for me, as dumb as it might sound, I mean, I kind of prefer,
Suck my
at least
balls.
in fantasy, the more potent smells. So I guess, things that created gas that was smelly or really...
Okay, so he wants the stinky farts. Okay, now I gotta know. Okay, now the biggest question with this video, also, hold on, I gotta. But hello, I'm watching the videos you sent me, or watching the fart, and I'm watching the fart fetishist interview now.
Really tied.
Back to what I was saying though before I went and read your chat message, right? Is that, so the biggest thing I'm curious about with this guy, right, is what happens if the girl sharts? Like, she's sitting on his face, trying to fart on his face, and she just takes
Would this guy and Tom Pearl get along?
We're going to find that out. But what I'm saying is, I want to know, like, if, let's say, this guy is with a girl, and the girl's getting ready to fart on his face or whatever, right? Stuff. What if she just shits? Like, she bets it all on black, and then just paints his face with diarrhea. How does he feel about that?
Into the more torturous aspects of enjoying this.
Where did this come from for you?
That's a mystery, and I think it is for a lot of people who have it.
You run across others who have this?
I have. I actually host a podcast. I don't know if I'll continue, but for 4 years I hosted a podcast just called the Fart Fetish Podcast.
Okay, I was about to say, this motherfucker better say the name of the podcast. Kind of disappointing. Like, I can't even think what, like, I want to say I'm disappointed that the
Sharpie hit in the back of my throat.
But I'm kind of disappointed in the idea that his podcast was just named the Fart Fetishist Podcast. But at the same time, though, I can't think of a creative name for a Fart Fetishist Podcast. Like Fart Eater Frenzy? I don't fucking know. I just thought of Landfill Lounge because I like play on words. I like the fact that both words start with an L.
I'm a longtime listener of the Fart Fetish Podcast.
But it's like, I can't think of a more creative name than that, and it bothers me. Like, it's such a simple name. And there's, well, I guess Fart Fetish, just FF. Whatever, you win, okay?
Help normalize it, especially within the kink community.
Also, I know he said kink, but it sounded like he said cake.
Sorry, but what was your original question?
Where did
Where did it originate?
Yeah.
For me, it's just speculation. I've had it for as you know, I was probably single digits as a child. So my best.
Okay, this is something that bothers me a little bit, right? Is with him saying he had it as a child, right? Like, that's still vague, right? Is he trying to sit here and say, yeah, like when he was a little kid and stuff, like he's a little kid and stuff, and one of his friends farted in his face, and he's like, teacher, my pants feel funny, and when Sally farted in my face, and stuff, unaware that he just has a fucking boner? is he talking in his teens, you know, like, be more specific, because it sounds weird when you say when you were a child.
Estimation is, for me, it came from a combination of kind of having my parents be a little bit free around the bathroom. So we're talking about using the bathroom with the door open, you know, not being so shy about farting, you know, around the house or in the car or whatever.
Yeah, some people are very relaxed about that, and other people are much more discreet.
Oh, absolutely. And especially in people I've talked to, there's people who have,
He said
I think,
single-digit
probably
age.
got.
That's even worse. Because, like, yeah, that means he's an 8-year-old kid, like, Mommy, my pee-pee stands up when girls at school fart in my face. And it's just like, what the fuck? My pee-pee feels tingly. Fucking gross. Also, too, like, imagine as the parent, right? You know, his parents probably don't know all this stuff. They probably don't even know this video exists, right? Or all that, right? But imagine if his parents found this video and they were like, oh my god, we shit with the bathroom door open and now our son gets turned on by women farting in his face. Like, that'd be the weirdest thing, like, like, I just shit, like, the dad's like, I was just shitting with the door open because it smelled bad. I didn't think it'd cause my son to get boners. This is so terrible. But not as bad as the bug fucker video. Like, this guy, at least he's getting consenting people to do it. And I think it's weird he's paying people to fart in his face. But at least everyone involved is consenting. That is the main thing. And he's not like, yeah, I only like when dogs fart in my face.
The fetish because it was so taboo in their household.
Oh, I see.
That they kind of like took it as a way to.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then I think the other side, the domination side, again, both speculation, but I think came from my parents being a bit, you know, to be blunt, neglectful, emotionally.
Okay, the domination thing, right? I'm not into that, you know. I don't want a girl to fucking, like, step on my chest on the bed and be like, you know, be all like that. I'm not into that, right? But that part of this fetish I can understand, right? You know, having, like, a girl do, like, the seductive voice, like, you've been a bad boy, you know. I get that, you know. It's not for me, but I get it, right? Like, that's the most tame part about this.
Like financially fine and all that, but my parents weren't, you know, per se great parents or great at being affirming, I guess. So I think a combination of the free, you know, bathroom use and the kind of trying to spin a new narrative around, you know, parents being not the most engaged, I think turned this into like fart fetish with this domination aspect as a way to, I don't know, psychologically heal. And the only reason I say that is because in listening to other people's stories, which are very much not like mine, it just seems like those pieces kind of come together. You have an experience in childhood and you're trying to figure out a way to, you know, make it better or make it like reframe the story around it.
That's interesting. What do you recall instances in your childhood where your mother or father was particularly flatulent and it turned you
No.
piqued your interest or anything like that?
Okay, I'm glad he clarified. No, he never got turned on by his mom farting. Also, that freeze frame on his face.
No, I wouldn't say it occurred anything that like directly. Like it certainly wasn't like me ever being turned on by my mom or dad, per se.
Crazy conversation, right?
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't definitely, I think, a direct connection, but it certainly, I think, fueled my desire for like authority figures, teachers, bosses, even in some cases, mother domination or what have you. But
Okay, like, so when he was in the single digit age, he wasn't getting a boner because the girls in his class farted in his face. He was getting a boner because his teacher farted in his face. Or am I reading too much into him saying that he likes teacher domination, while also talking about the fact that he never got turned on by his mom farting, but he got turned on by farts? I don't know. When's he going to talk about if a girl shits in his face?
when I say that, it's not like my mother. It's just the aura of a mother figure.
Yeah, somebody who's in a power position or in a
Right, and I
parental.
think absolutely, and I think that is what kind of really feeds into that element of being out of control, because with your parents, you're kind of stuck with them. If I don't want to get to I don't want to diminish people's experience, but like if you have an abusive parent, there's not a lot of avenues for you to heal yourself. I mean, there's police and what have you, but that's kind of a larger ask in this world where like if your parents are mistreating you, basically to say is you're kind of trapped, you're stuck in that situation. And I think a lot of that is what I think about and fantasize in these now my adult fantasies, is like this aspect.
I'm getting a call. Give me a moment.
Of being
Nope.
completely.
Oh, give me a moment. All right, I'm back.
Out of control, completely unable to get help, as it were, for this mistreatment.
When you engage in this fetish, this is an erotic thing for you. It turns you on sexually.
It does, yeah. Specifically, like the domination and fart fetish, but yes, yeah, it does.
And so
Why'd they change it to a thumbnail image? Did he was he not dressed for this part of the interview?
you'll have a woman come over. How do you initiate some kind of interaction?
Well, I guess it depends on who it is or how it's with. I mean, with pro dom, it's pretty much the standard kink practice.
Here's what I like.
I'm sorry.
Where you tell her
Exactly. You
this is what I like.
tell her what you want. Maybe even you email first and be like, "Oh, I want this," and kind of go in this direction or this kind of theming. Being more dominant.
Imagine communicating with someone who you want to fart in your face via email. It makes me think of the thing from Maxor where he was like, he made this joke in one of his videos. I can't remember what the video was, but it was like, oh yeah, it was an Elden Ring video, and he said that you have to delete. He said the sentence for hell, one of those layers of hell, is like, your sentence is you have to delete all dating apps, and you have to accept Gmail. Well, accept your email. You have to suck and fuck on Gmail. But it's like, I'm just imagining, like, dear Samantha, put the comma, and you try to make it all professional. Like, yes, I would like you to fart in my face and call me a bad kitten. Like, what the fuck?
Indifferent to suffering or what have you. It's never. I've found in my experience, I am probably more turned on by fantasies because I've written stories for.
Of course, this guy's a fanfic writer. Now, hey, you know what? If you ever wanted to, you could try to find this guy and see if he'll write you some Tom Pearl Minion fanfic.
It's probably 2 decades now, or almost 2 decades. So that's where I find I guess having that control and having like full control of all the options in like a story or creating like small captions or what have you, I find that a lot more arousing than my actual in-person sessions for whatever reason. Yeah, I think it's just it's hard to have someone really nail down exactly what you want when it's so specific. When it's like, I want you to it's not about like how they fart or whatever, although that certainly helps, being louder and more boisterous and being smelly or what have you. I think for me, maybe other people don't have this, but it's hard to be like, okay, can you like also be smelly? And can you also like getting into the specifics when you're like paying someone for a service? Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, that and two, it's also, I feel like if you're like, I feel like it's one of those things that if you're like, especially in the context of this where it's a sexual thing, right? He's wanting like, a kinky fart in his face or whatever, right? It would be hard, kind of hard, but I feel like it'd be hard to explain to someone what you want in the context of sex like this. Maybe it's just me. Again, I'm coming at this as a virgin, right? A 30-year-old virgin. But like I can't imagine whether you're telling someone to their face or telling someone through email or through text, hey, so I want you to fart in my face and be mean to me, but be mean to me about the fact that you're farting in my face. But I will say this, he's saying how you tell someone you want their farts to be smelly, like, tell them to eat a fucking thing of beans before they show up, Tell them to do of that fart spray.
Because you're paying them, they should like accommodate, but at the same time, it's a little more personal than like, can I buy this apple or whatever?
Right.
Like,
have you had partners that were particularly enjoyable for you?
I would say the last pro dom session I did was particularly enjoyable. It was actually 2 dominants, but the main dominant in that case, the pro dom, was I guess had done this in her real life, like with boyfriends or whatever, and just kind of knew the kind of vibe I was going for, because the fantasy for me is not enjoying it. Like, obviously I enjoy it because it is turning me on, but the fantasy is to be, as I mentioned, like tormentous or being tortured.
Okay, I'm confused now. So, he enjoys it, but part of it is that he's not enjoying it. What? That doesn't make any sense. You're enjoying it, but you're not enjoying it. I am so confused right now by this. Like, I don't understand.
So I think that's kind of hard to pull off. I think in a real setting, and why I gravitate more towards stories.
Okay, yeah, see, that's what I'm getting at. Like, it's hard. That would be hard to. How would you even explain that to someone, like, that you're paying to fart in your face, right? Like, I'm gonna enjoy it, but I want to not enjoy it. I don't understand. I don't get it.
because I think people are hesitant to want to like lean into that fully and lean into that.
Well, yeah, that most people, except for the guy who fucking shoves worms in his urethra, right? It would be hard. Like, hell, even me, as a virgin, right? You know, even me as a virgin, right? If I was with a girl, right, and she said something like, I want you to fuck me till I'm begging you to stop, and then you keep going anyway, you know, and stuff like that. I feel like the moment she said...
He gets off on the idea of being tortured by smelly farts.
I'm saying, like, if a girl ever was like that with me and told me she wants me to fuck her till she begs me to stop, and I tell her, okay.
Makes sense?
I feel like the first time she said stop, I would stop. Like, so yeah, I could see the hesitation of people not being able to lean into it as much. And, like, well, the thing is, like, yes, I know he's into the torture aspect of it, right? But it's just still the idea he's enjoying it, but the idea of him not enjoying it is what turns him on. Yeah, fucking.
That in a way that's believable.
And you're so open about this. Do you find yourself defending this sometimes with people, friends, whatever?
No, not really.
Do you not understand fetish culture at all?
I guess. Right?
Well, see, but that's the thing is let me pull up your fucking chat message here really quick so I can debate you properly.
It's a role play.
Okay, I see what you're getting at now a little bit more. Cause see, yeah, like I've never been in fetish culture because, you know, I've never been with a woman, so.
For sure. And I mean, I've, you know,
I will say I do find it funny that it's like he's saying he's never had to defend it and stuff, and it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. I would like to think most friends, these kinds of things don't come up in a conversation. You're different. You ask me all the time fucking what characters in Zenless I jack off to, which it's not Corn, no, it's Evelyn, right? But like most people, you know, they're not like, you know, like a couple bros, you know, watching a football game and stuff like that. You know, they're hanging out, watching the Steelers or something like that. And they're not turning their head to the side like, hey, bro, do you like it when women stomp on your balls? How do you feel about fucking sounding? I say that shit as a joke.
It's because we are degenerate people.
Yes, we are, absolutely. But, like, I'll say that as a joke, right? But, like, I don't think I would ever ask someone with the genuine curiosity on if they're into sounding. You know? Like, if I ask somebody if they're into sounding, right? I'm not asking because I want to know if they really are into sounding. I'm asking because I think it's funny to see their reaction when I have to explain to them that sounding is when you stick things in your urethra. But back to this.
I've talked to enough people at this point. I've been in the kink community and told people about the fart fetish in that community, even if they weren't fetishists themselves, that I've kind of, I don't know, I guess it would be come to terms with the way people are. Like, I fully understand that most people don't like fart fetish, don't have it in. A lot of people don't even know it exists. I think people know about.
Really? Okay, that... Maybe I am a degenerate, because I'm sitting here thinking, like, it's weird, but fart fetish is one of the more tame ones I can think of, you know? Like, oh, a guy likes it when the girl farts. Like, I'm thinking that's just the most, like, I mean, it sounds like, I would say fart fetish is in the same realm as feet fetish, right? Like, it's weird because there's almost nothing sexual to it, right? But it's not like bug fucking or bestiality or something like that, you know? So I'm just saying, like, is it really not that common for, like, people who have fetishes to not be into fart fetishes? See, the thing that throws me off the most is that this guy ain't gay. Like, because he was saying he was straight, like, fully and stuff like that, and all that. And I'm just more like, that part's more surprising to me. I thought for sure this dude would be gay. But alright, back to this.
Like piss fetish, and they know about scat fetish, but we're kind of like in the middle of the...
How is scat more common than fart fetish? Like, I'm sorry, but, like, I'd like to think it'd be the other way around. Like, fart fetish would be the gateway to scat fetish. Like, you know, you start out liking farts and stuff, and then you eventually devolve into, like, well, I kind of want to feel like what happens when the farts are solid.
Those two, and it's not as well exposed. I think my mission with the podcast was to try to achieve some of what has happened with like foot fetish, where it's kind of like a little more normalized. People know about Quentin Tarantino, people know about this, and even I'd say piss fetish. Like there was that scene that opened that TV show Billions with Paul Giamatti getting pissed on. So I think that's what I was trying to do with the podcast, is like, let me try to normalize this or get this in the...
At least
Most people like normal fetishes, like giant breasts.
I wouldn't call liking huge tits a fetish, you know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't know my fetishes, right? Maybe I only know the weird ones, like fucking piss and shit fetish and bug, you know. I wish I didn't know bug some days, but I do, right? But it just, to me, like, I don't know, it just seems like fart fetish would be more normal than shit fetish, than scat fetish.
In the world, in a
but
way.
No, back to what I was saying though, is that at least this guy's trying to normalize a norm. Like, again, the biggest thing that matters with these fetishes, and the reason why I'm not judging this guy, like the bug fetish guy, right? I mean, I am judging him a little bit, but I'm not judging him as hard as the bug fetish guy is. At least in this one, all parties are consenting, because that is the biggest thing to me. Like, it's the same thing with a lot of things, you know, like whether you want to get fucked by a dude or whatever, or if you want to have a chick fart in your face, right? As long as everyone's consenting and it's in the privacy of your own home, I don't give a fuck what you do. Just if it's in the too far weird range, don't tell me about it, you know? Like, hell, kind of even with the scat fetish thing, right? You know, hell, I don't care if you want
to... Look up the Wikipedia definition of fetish.
Maybe later. But it's like, even with scat fetish, right? Hell, I don't care if you go home and think, man, I hope my wife's ready to fucking shit on my chest. You know? Just don't tell me about it. I don't care what you do when you're home. You know, if you want to go home after a long day of work, lay back on your bed and let your wife shit on your chest, you know, and piss in your mouth, fuck it, you know? As long as she's willing to do it, you're willing to let her do it, you know? And all that, and everyone's consenting. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. As long as everyone's consenting. That's why I'm okay with this guy. You know, at least in this case, everyone involved is consenting to it. Versus with the bug guy, animals can't consent, right? And even then, with the bug guy, I keep reiterating this point because the bug guy made me so mad, right? Is that let's humor this, right? Let's say the worms in that video he was taught when the guy was explaining how he sticks earthworms in his urethra. Let's say the earthworms could consent, right? You know, if that was the case, when they didn't go in your urethra, it's implied they're not consenting. So if that guy actually cared about consent,
I don't think you understand the definition of the word fetish.
maybe I don't. But what I'm getting at is, like, if the guy cared about consent, right, and when the worms didn't go in his urethra, he would have sat them on a shelf, put them back in their container, sat them back on the shelf, and said, "We'll try again tomorrow," right? But instead, he uses incense to make it to where they have to feel like the only way they're gonna live is if they go in his urethra. You know, it'd be like if I went up to a girl, said, "Hey, you want to fuck?" And when she said no, instead of walking away and finding another girl or using my hand, right? I threw a trash bag over her head, put a vacuum hose to it, and start pumping carbon monoxide into it, and telling her the only way she's leaving this room alive is if she bends over and lets me fuck her in the ass. You know, like that's just because if she says yes, that doesn't make it consent. It's called trying not to fucking die. Like, I swear, to this day, I genuinely believe the only reason that guy said he cared about consent is because the camera person was a woman, right? And it would make things so much worse if he said, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck about consent," to a woman. Yeah, like that could make things wildly not okay.
People respect as much as you can respect it. Like I'm self-aware in terms of, like, I get it's silly. Some fetishists even lean into the comedic aspect or the farts are funny aspect. That's not me per se. I don't particularly find that funny. But I don't like hate on anyone that does engage in that.
Okay, this guy's saying he doesn't find farts funny and stuff. It's like, you're telling me, this guy's trying to tell me he's never been in a gas station bathroom and heard someone fighting for their life and stuff, and you can fucking hear the porcelain shaking from how hard they're farting. Like, I'm the kind of person, I can't help myself. My sense of humor is fucked, right? If I'm in the bathroom, right, and I hear a guy like farting farting to the point it has reverb because of the bathroom too, I'm trying my best not to laugh. Right? Yeah, the guy might be in the bathroom suffering, but I'm over here fucking trying to not die laughing.
You like a particularly strong scent? You also like is the sound part of it?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the strong scent is definitely like what I most reach for. I think it's also the hardest to obtain, depending on the situation. Because I think, for one, I mean, like, prodoms are, they.
Pausing this now because now part of this I'm actually curious about. Right, I still want him to get into the idea explaining what happens if the girl shits on his face. That is the biggest thing for me right now. I need to know, has he ever had a girl shit on his face by accident when trying to fart on his face? But I also want to know, now, does he prefer, like, the big beefy ones that are like the fucking, you feel like you lost some weight with that fart? Or does he prefer the little farts that, could be like silent and stuff like that, and you can only hear it if you're in a dead quiet room?
What do you call it? They, like, sanitize, I guess, themselves before a session, so it's a little less, I guess you could say, natural than.
Okay, at least appreciate the fact that he said they prefer sanitized and cleaned up and stuff like that. Because God forbid this guy fucking. I think it'd be even worse if he said, like, yeah, I prefer if she has a hairy ass crack and it's got fucking dingleberries and shit, I want a little snack when she sits on my face.
Some of the indulgences with my girlfriend, my mistress, has been a little more.
I swear, every time I see one of these videos from the guy from the guy shoving earthworms in his dick to this guy wanting, like, paying people to fart in his face, right? If these people can get girlfriends, there's hope for all of us. like if a guy could get a girlfriend who is aware that he's like, yeah, I prefer it if you fart in my mouth.
Natural, she's not, it's the end of the day and she hasn't, she showered at the beginning of the day or what have you. I think that is one aspect I like, even if it's harder to obtain. And yeah, I would say the sound is also a factor for me, just because, I don't know. I would say, I guess the sound is illustrative of how dominating it is, how much I'm going to keep using the word torture, but how torturous it is.
And how often will you engage in this?
Well, I mean, it really just depends. I mean, as far as my partner goes, I pretty much just engage with it when she does it. I don't particularly ask for it.
Do you enjoy sex without this?
I actually find myself to be at least semi-asexual, or at least in that vein. I don't really have a strong enjoyment or strong proclivity towards penetrative sex. It's not really something I do or...
Okay, I don't like the term penetrative sex, right? Because in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, right, is there another kind of sex? Like, I mean, I don't understand, again, I'm going to keep reiterating my idiocy to these topics, right? And my coming at this from an outsider perspective as someone who's never had sex, right? But, is there any other kind of sex but penetrative sex? I don't understand. I hate that term.
Enjoy on a regular basis. I kind of see it a bit performative for myself anyways. That, yeah, it doesn't really have a strong... I don't know, the only word I can think of is enjoyment for me. Mm-hmm. I don't gravitate in that direction. I've done it a few times over my life. I'm 39 now. So it's something I've experienced, but haven't been like, oh my God, I gotta have sex, And I know that's a bit maybe odd for males especially. I mean, that seems to be the generally the main...
I will say on that part, the whole thing of the generally expected for guys thing, right? I feel him on that one because both my brothers are constantly telling me, I should put myself out there more and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I do not want to have kids unless I either could get a vasectomy or I find a girl who already has her tubes tied or she's sterile, right? No, thank you. I don't want kids. I'm sorry, but there is not... I have seen even the most well-behaved kids, right? Maybe, I don't know if there's just something wrong with me on this, because some people say it would be something wrong with me or whatever, right? But it's even just something as simple as a child laughing, right? It's not cute to me. It drives me up the wall, and I just want them to shut the fuck up, right? And and it's going from that to even the bad behaved kids and stuff like that I've seen when I'm working, or even the good behaved kids who are laughing and stuff like that. The sounds and stuff like that, and the idea of babies and stuff shitting themselves and screaming and crying and all this other stuff. It's I've never seen a woman that is so attractive in my life that I would think I would be willing to put up with that if it meant I got to have sex with her. Ever.
Attraction is sex. That's where everyone's trying to aim for or go for. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, for me, it's always been what turns me on, what excites me is the fetish, is the domination aspects.
Do you find your fetish is changing over the years, or is it just what it is and that's it?
I mean, it's definitely probably changed in terms of figures I fantasize about. I think when I was younger, it was being farted on by fellow college girls or whatever. Nobody I know, but that age group. And I think now that I'm older, it's gone to more older authority figures, bosses, teachers, that kind of idea. As far as
Okay, that to me is not the craziest thing to think about. Like, basically, the idea that it's like the fetish evolved as he got older. Like, for example, when he's younger, it was college people, and then as I got older, it's like people that are older. That's not crazy. Also, if you're wondering, I'm pausing this a lot because one thing I've learned with reaction stuff, right, is that you don't want to just sit here and just stare at the screen and, like, just deadpan. Because I know I'll do that, right? If I was to just sit here and react to it, I'd just be like, the whole time, right? And stuff. But, like, with pausing and interjecting with it, I'm not, like, I'm doing, like, I'm adding to it in a way. Like, I'm not just sitting here deadpan. Because I know that's one of the things, the reason why I was telling myself I wasn't normally going to do reaction stuff, right? Because in my mind, it's like, I know myself, and I know, like, even when I'm sitting at home sitting here watching YouTube on my own, right? Stuff. I would just be sitting here just staring at the screen. Like, I'm enjoying the video, yeah, like, I'll watch an Elden Ring lore video, and I'm enjoying it, right? But I'm not sitting there like, ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, oh my god. No, I'm just like, even though I'm enjoying it, I just look bored. I don't know what it is. So I gotta do this so that way, I'm not just sitting here staring like at the video.
the fetish itself, though, it's always been more or less the same in terms of being dominated, being farted on the face. Like, I've always kind of viewed it in that direction.
So interesting. The
Checking something here.
the likelihood that you're going to meet somebody just in your normal life and get the relationship to end up here is very slim, right?
Absolutely. I would actually say definitely. I think a lot of people, when you're in the fart fetish, and judging by people I've talked to and reading posts on Reddit and what have you, I think there's a misconception that, like, sniffing someone's farts or engaging in that kind of activity is a sexual or kinky service. Like, that's providing a dominant as something they want. Whereas, I mean, I've been in the community, I think, long enough to realize it's like what female dominants, what femdoms want is generally like people to do domestic service and clean around my house and sexual service as well, in some cases. And I think there is people who are in the fart fetish have this misconception that, what they do is desired or will be desired by other people. And I'm not saying those people don't exist. I've talked to one female fart fetishist who does very much enjoy the kind of aspect of having their partner sniff it and enjoy it and what have you. But I think that's rare. I do think it's pretty rare that you're going to find it even in the kinky community. Like, as I said, I mentioned this kink to people in the local kink community, and people kind of, like, they're not disrespectful, because most people in kink community, if not everyone, is very much they're very much like, they know not to yuck someone's yum, as is the saying.
Well, of course the fetish people aren't going to be judgmental and stuff, because, like, if a guy's jacking off to getting pissed on, right? Can he really talk too much shit about a guy who likes farts? Like, that's with just any like any kind of fetish that I'm just thinking of, right? From my understanding of fetishes, right? It's like same thing, like if a guy enjoys sniffing farts and stuff like that and having girls sit on his face and fart, right? Can he really talk shit about the guy who likes feet? like, he's over there dude, like, it's like, bro, shut up. You're, it's like, I imagine this guy talking shit about a guy who likes feet. It's like, bro, shut up. You like women farting in your mouth. Like, you don't have room to talk. Like, I don't think it's a respect thing, real. Like, it could be a respect thing, by all means, Again, I'm not in the fetish community, right? But in my mind, I'm also thinking it's one of the throwing stones in a glass house situation where it's like, you can't really talk shit about people when you're doing something on the same level, if not worse. Same thing like the fucking Tom Pearl type. Like if Tom Pearl started talking shit about people who like foot fetishes, I'd be like, yeah, but you eat shit, okay? So shut up. You have no room to talk.
But yeah, I think as far as someone who's going to understand it, going to even know about it, and going to even more rare, want it in their life.
Be turned on by it.
Exactly. I think is very slim, very rare. I think the best way forward, the best advice I've given people or shared with people is build a relationship first. Build a unimpeachable relationship. This person loves you, loves everything about you. This relationship seems like it's going in the right direction.
Because of the nature of relationships, when you're living with somebody for 10 years, 5 years, you eventually come into situations where this happens.
Absolutely.
Okay, I will have to agree with the point the guy who's talking makes here, right? And I say this all the time. I say this whenever I'm talking. I was talking to this guy who was giving me and my little brother a ride to town the other day, right? It was one of my cousins, right? And I was saying, I made the comment of I said that people have 3 different faces: the one they have around strangers, the one they have around family, and the one they have around home. I was like, I already know for a fact that I pointed at my cousin when I was talking to my little brother about I already know for a fact he would not like the person I am at home, right? Versus I also know that I probably would possibly would take issue with the way he is at his house, right? And stuff and I also think too, I'm not gonna say names, right? But my older brother lived with one of his friends when he lived up in Utah, right? For a while there. And then he also lived with another one of his friends when he lived in Vegas for a while. And he started really not liking them. And then he moved out, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, and I was telling him the same thing. I was like when he got pissed at that friend that he lived with in Vegas and left, right? I was like, well, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. He was your buddy at work and stuff like that, but you only knew him as your coworker. You didn't know the kind of person he was at home, And even now, he all the time he talks to me about his current roommates and stuff, and he says about how, they frustrate him a lot and all this other stuff. And it's well, yeah, it's because you know them only at the hanging out and stuff like that, They're not the same people when they're alone at home, and they're not gonna maybe for a little bit they'll maintain that friend mask, right? But after a while, they're going to be sick of wearing that friend mask every time they're out of their bedroom, And you might not like the at home by themselves mask, You might not like the mask off thing. So yes, I fully agree with that, where it's with this guy and his girlfriend and stuff, where it's at a certain point, you have to come to terms with the whole, for example, me, right? If I had a girlfriend come over, right, I feel like at a certain point, I couldn't just be, the friendly, oh my God, I love you so much kind of guy. Obviously, I'd still love her to death, right? But, I'd be fucking, at a certain point, I would let the mask of, boyfriend, girlfriend slip, and I'd ask her something stupid, do you like having bees in your asshole or some shit? And she had to come to terms with the fact that I'm a fucking weirdo with a shitty sense of humor.
Well, and if that's the way you enjoy it, true. If you enjoy something more specific, you may need to tell them about it.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking as you were speaking that going on a fetish community like website or whatever and finding connections that way is certainly probably the most effective way. But doing a talk on my channel where you're reaching a totally different audience, your likelihood is actually pretty great of finding some twisted girl in Topeka, Kansas who thinks this is her shit too.
Absolutely. I will say I do think that is part of the downside of living in Los Angeles is I think a lot of people, myself included, are very focused on their ego. And so I think it is somewhat harder to find people who will indulge in these more quirky fetishes here because
I still don't think fart fetishes are that quirky. Like, I've seen a man eat shit before. I don't think fart fetishes are quirky. You know, I've also watched a guy explain how to put bugs in your urethra. You're not going to convince me a fart fetish is a quirky fetish, you know? Like, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's me just not knowing things, and I'm sitting here thinking that, you know, these are just the most normal sound. To me, these just sound like the most normal sounding fetishes. This just sounds like the most normal sounding fetish, you know? Besides, like the idea of just like, you know, hey, I like a gassy chick, you know? I mean, it's a little more complicated than that, but, you know, when is he gonna get to what happens when a girl shits in his face? That's the main thing I need to know. And I'm gonna be pissed if he doesn't bring it up.
they are worried, like, oh, what if someone finds out? Oh, I'm an actor. What if someone like does this or does that? Like me, I've even shot fart fetish pornography with a former partner of mine, and you know, it's got my face.
So this guy's done fart fetish porn. Okay, doubling down on the fact that this guy can't talk no shit about anybody's fetish, right? Like if he starts talking shit about feet fetish, it's like, bro, you filmed fart fetish porn. Shut up.
In it, it's on Clips for Sale. I don't really worry about those things. I, as an actor myself, or someone who did pursue that for a time, I took everything as like, oh, this could help me raise my profile. This could be what gets me out into the world. I don't think it ever worked, but that was kind of the thought process.
Does the physical attractiveness of your partner play a role in any of this?
Certainly, I would say absolutely. I mean,
Well, that just seems like an unspoken yes. I mean, like, I know attractiveness is subjective, right? You know, and stuff. Like, obviously, what I find hot, what this dude finds hot, you know, what people in my chat find hot are possibly different things entirely, right? But honestly, yeah, if I wouldn't want a chick that looks like fucking, like, she looks like 500 pound. I don't want a 500 pound fucking woman fart sitting down on my face and ripping ass, you know? I get, like, I'm not into farts, but, like, you know, if a girl's gonna fart in my face, I feel like I'd be a lot less into it if I couldn't see myself ever wanting to have sex with this chick, right? You know, I'd be a bit grossed out, yeah, if it was like, you know, like a fat girl, right? And so yeah, no, that is the most logical thing, really. Like, it just feels unspoken, like, oh yeah, I want chicks I would never see myself with farting in my mouth. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Do you like a heavy-set girl who likes to eat, or do you like a more slender?
I mean, I probably gravitate more towards heavier women or BBW or whatever term you want to use, in that sense. I think there's a limit to that based on my preferences as well.
I'm sorry, I'm so square. BBW is
big beautiful women.
big beautiful.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's just another way to avoid saying fat. It seems offensive to use that word, even though it is, I guess, the correct term. So yeah, I mean, I guess I enjoy more average to heavier women. I think it really depends, but I would say
Hold on, wait. I gotta pause for just a sec because my friend is spamming in a different Discord I'm in a picture that's showing like it's not available, right? And I don't know. Part of me is worried that, like, basically my streams are shit the bed or something like that, and that's what he's trying to tell me. No, that seems good there. Let me check my Twitch. Because if he's talking to me on Twitch, then stream manager. Okay.
I think for everyone, the attraction is always a matter. It's not going to be like you just want farts from any old one or any old person. There is definitely an attraction that matters.
It's mind bending to think about this.
No, for sure.
I have never even heard of this.
Yeah, absolutely. That is
somebody sent me your profile and said, "Oh yeah, this would be interesting."
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm always happy to discuss it and talk about it. I
love that you're so open about it because, like, I remember this reminds me of another interview I did with a black gentleman who was really into having sex with transgender women, and he talked about it like how he really likes grilled cheese sandwiches.
Sure.
And he just made it as natural and simple and like no shame at all. And by the end of the talk, it was like, he's not hurting anybody. He's not doing anything wrong. It's like, it seemed like totally normal.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas most people would be horrified that this information got out. But I think by talking about it like this, it just makes it so it's like no big deal.
That's the aim for me. Like I've whether it was the podcast or
I'm pausing this for a sec. I'm getting this vibe that he's not gonna bring up what his reaction would be if a girl fucking shits on his face by accident, and that's gonna bother me. Like, I want to know. I don't know why I want to know, but it's almost beating me up on the inside, thinking that this guy is not gonna address this point, but I have to know.
Whatever I did, I was always trying to just normalize it and make people aware of it, at least in the kink community. Like I understand that people who just enjoy intercourse and don't really think about kinks or being tied up in the bedroom or anything like that, they're not going to care about this. They don't need to think about it or worry about it. They probably don't want to know about it in some cases. But yeah, I think for the kink community, it is important to, I don't know, expose it, get people knowledgeable about it. I think part of it too is there's so few fart fetishists in the public kink community that have.
Oh wait, I'm gonna go fix that one on my OBS real quick. Hold on, let me do game this. Cause I'm realizing I'm like laying down like this, right? And the W thing tops are kind of blocking my face. So I'm gonna move those over here and sit them. Okay, let me do those. I'm gonna pull those up to the front. There we go. And transition. There we go. Much better. Now I'm not blowing. Now my
come out, as it were, and talk to people in the kink community. That I think that's the next big step for fart fetishists is to feel more wherever they are, whether it's Los Angeles or wherever they are in the world or the States, is to go into their local kink communities if they're lucky enough to have them, and talk to people and tell people that, hey, I'm not a weirdo, I'm not a pervert. I like this weird thing. You like your weird things, and we're all, like you say, nobody's hurting anyone. So, what's the harm?
All right, Raj, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and interests with us.
No, it's my pleasure.
I really appreciate your honesty and.
Okay, that makes me so mad. Like they did not address the main point I wanted to know with this video. Like, what does he think about if the girl accidentally shits on his face. Bah humbug, you. I fucking hate it. All right, let's pull up the next one. Again, I'm not doing that one, so I'm just going to put a big reaction, thumbs down. No. Oh, no. Well, what was that? This feels like okay, hold on.
Hey, so
Okay, so the next one we're going to watch from the list of videos that he sent me is why fascists don't eat vegetables.
Hey, so Sarah, have you heard about this guy, Jordan Peterson?
Hello, everyone.
Professor Jordan Burnt Peterson?
That's not his real name.
It's actually his real name. You've probably forgotten because he was kind of more of a pre-COVID era sort of a phenomenon.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
In 2018, The Guardian described him as the closest academia has to a rock star.
My tweet violated the Twitter.
Wait. Hold on. We're skipping back just a sec. No.
We'll see who cancels who.
In 2018, The Guardian described him as the closest academia.
Okay, that's a stupid claim by The Guardian on that one. Like, really? I don't understand what they mean by that. Like, he's the closest thing academia has to a rock star. Like, you're telling me that no rock star's ever been to college? Academia has real rock stars. I'm almost certain that if you could prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's never been a single person who's made rock music that's also been to college, maybe I'll believe this claim. But right now, this is dumb as shit.
Has to a rock star.
My tweet violated the Twitter rules. What rules, you sons of bitches?
Yeah, he only...
Okay, and on that one, right? Okay, I'm going to say this, right? By all means, I personally have mixed feelings with Twitter, right? And it was another guy, it was Ackman who said it, right? Is that usually when someone gets banned off a social media platform, right? And they say that it's because of free speech, right? They got banned. It usually means they said something kind of that you're not supposed to say. Like, for example, he was talking about he was talking about this guy called he was a TV review guy, right? And he tweeted about the two people who played Ellie and the other girl from The Last of Us 2, right? And the guy said that he got banned on Twitter after he said that they should have been part of that, like, a gay club that got shot up, right? And stuff, and it's like, that's not getting banned for free speech. That's getting banned for saying something you really shouldn't say. Now, I'll admit, Twitter before Elon Musk bought it, I feel like the terms of what you could and couldn't say were probably a little bit overboard. I wouldn't know because I don't Because my thing is, like, I don't feel the need, like, even with my more controversial opinions, right? I don't feel the need to tweet them. Like, you know, I don't need other people's validation on my opinions. Like, I feel the way I feel about things. I don't care, and I'm not, like, I don't see the point in, like, I feel like it's also too, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm feeling really dumb for this a little bit. I'm thinking it's just like an ego stroking thing to want to go, to feel this need to go and tweet your opinions. And two, like, and then too, if you go and tweet your opinions and it's like the ones that are like, you know, that are not like pro whatever the fuck, right? It feels like you're intentionally doing it to get a reaction, right? Like, whenever I voice my opinions on my streams, right, I'm not saying it to get a reaction. I'm just saying it because I want people to know how I feel, right? You know, I don't, like, the only time I say something to get a reaction out of people is whenever I ask somebody, you know, how do you feel about sounding? Or have you ever stuck a Tic Tac in your urethra? You know, like, but I'm not asking that genuinely. God forbid somebody says, "Oh yeah, I did stick a Tic Tac in my urethra. It felt quite pleasurable." You know, that would fuck. I don't even know. But all right, back to the video.
Eats beef.
I eat beef and salt and water. That's it. And I never cheat.
Oh God, I know about those people. That's like the Liver King, or like raw egg nationalists, or Bronze Age pervert. All of those carnivore diet bros.
They all just eat beef.
I mean, I don't know.
That I don't. That sounds like a very sad diet: beef, salt, and water. Like, what? I mean, does he include taco seasoning and stuff? Like, I'll admit I don't eat vegetables. I haven't eaten unless you count potatoes and corn from chips as vegetables, right? Stuff. I haven't eaten a vegetable since I was 16, right? Well, 17. So, you know, I can't talk too much shit, right, on that. But, like, I still do other things with the meats I eat. You know, like, for example, I don't fucking just, like, let's say I want tacos, right? You know, I don't just do unseasoned, well, meat that's only been seasoned with salt wrapped in a tortilla. You know, I would want it with taco seasoning and some cheese and stuff, and maybe a not chunky salsa, you know, like a cheese sauce or something like that, or whatever. I wouldn't put ketchup in it. That would be gross. But still, you know, but just beef, salt, and water sounds almost sad.
Know that they're all that bad, but they are bad.
You sometimes ask me which vegetables are okay to eat. My answer is no.
Like, they drink milk, but usually only raw milk. They're very big on raw meat, organ meat specifically. A lot of liver and testicles. They kind of revel in the grossness of recording themselves on social media eating raw eggs or something.
Raw eggs. And that's like their whole thing? Is that all they do?
God.
I've heard of benefits from eating raw eggs, but I still couldn't bring myself to do it. Especially because, like, also too, the fucking bit with Liver King just now eating the raw egg with the shell. No, like you're supposed to like crack the eggs into a cup and drink it. You know, you don't eat the fucking egg with the shell on. Like. He like what? Do you fucking swallow the shell for pistachios too and sunflower seeds? Like, he's the type of motherfucker that don't peel his potatoes and stuff. And he just when he eats, I don't know, he don't even eat fucking potatoes probably. I don't know. I'm just saying that just like eating the shell to me is the most wild part about eating a raw egg, because I've heard of eating a raw egg. You know, I've seen it. I've heard there's health benefits to it and stuff like that. You know, if they've been like pasteurized and stuff like that, or the fuck, right? But just the shell,
No, there's a whole mythos behind their actions. It's a rabbit hole, and it goes really deep. We're not just talking about these fringe guys either. We're talking about Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, even Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth. Well, that's so interesting and probably horrible. You know,
Okay, Gwyneth Paltrow, that, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if she fucking, like, with her and her whole Goop company, right? Which I don't even know if it's still a thing. Is Goop still a thing? Right? But honestly, with her, I wouldn't, that is not surprising that she'd have some kind of weird diet and stuff, claiming it's supposed to cleanse her chakras or whatever the fuck.
Interesting thing about Jordan Peterson is that he didn't start out with the whole meat thing. He was an actual respectable professor of psychology, but he slowly became a right-wing pundit. He seems to have always hated trans people, and he gained a lot of notoriety for opposing this bill in Canada, C-16, which he claimed would punish people for using the wrong pronouns, with prison or something.
Did that happen?
Not in the sense of reality, no.
Jordan, you're not going to go to jail if you keep this up.
Happen?
Not in the sense of reality, no.
Jordan, you're not.
Misuse may become actionable through the Human Rights Tribunal. The courts remedies monetary damage on financial remedies, for example, ceasing the discriminatory practice, reinstatement to job and public interest remedies, for example, changing hiring practices or developing non-discriminatory policy procedure. Okay, so basically it's just saying you won't go to jail, but you'll be forced by the government to allow them to be hired. Okay, that's not crazy.
Going to go to jail if you keep this up. Do you find that reassuring?
What if I don't pay the fine?
Then what?
Then what?
Interestingly, C-16 was actually more concerned with stopping genocidal speech, but I'm sure there's no modern relevance there.
Okay, that I'm gonna say too, like, Jordan Peterson's a bit crazy on that, right? But I have to ask though, he does ask a good question on that, right? Like, what if he didn't pay the fine? You know, because usually when, like, you know, the government gives you a fine, right? Like, he's saying you could go to jail for using wrong pronouns, right? And the guy says, oh, you're not going to go to jail, you know, and stuff. And he's like, well, if I don't pay the fine? And it's like, usually when the government issues you a fine and you don't pay it, you do go to jail, right? So, unless they wouldn't take you to jail for not paying the fine, then what do they do? And then if they don't do anything right, then technically, I mean, there's no punishment really, if you think about it, right? Like, either they are taking people to jail who refuse to pay the fine, right? Or B, they're issuing fines, but people just aren't paying them and everything just goes on as usual and the government just has a bunch of fines on people. I don't know. Something to think about.
Tell me more about Liver King and the Eggman.
Well, Liver King didn't start out that way either, not that I can tell. Like, he's always been buff. All of these guys are gym bros. That's their whole thing, bodybuilding.
Jordan Peterson's not a gym bro. That dude is lanky as shit. But go on.
Really been poisoned by the alpha male mythos.
Men have become pussies today.
Liver King says he got bullied as a kid, and rather than seeing the bullies as the problem, he saw his diminutive size as the issue. So he spent his life getting big. But before he was the Liver King...
Honestly, I get that mentality though, right? Like, you know, if you're a scrawny kid that looks like you look like you're barely 80 pounds soaking wet, right? And you're getting picked on and stuff. And then imagine that the reason you're getting bullied is because you're tiny, right? And so you decide to get jacked so nobody will bully you because you look like you can fucking kill them in a punch. Yeah, I could see that. Also, Liver King does steroids.
He was a pharmaceutical sales rep, and then he worked for his wife's dental practice. He only became the Liver King when he and his wife started selling their own supplements online.
Wild. I'm just looking at him now. Gosh, he's an imposing figure, isn't he? He kind of looks like a hipster rhinoceros.
That's his whole marketing ploy. If you want to look like the Liver King, all you have to do is eat a ton of raw meat, stop eating vegetables, and also take his proprietary supplements.
And is that true? Is that all you have to do?
No, of course not. He's a grifter.
Peterson's a grifter too! You know what? This is going to take some explaining. The briefest...
Okay. if I remember correctly, the definition of a grifter is someone who says things they don't actually believe to make money or whatever, right? And if that's the true definition of grifter, Jordan Peterson's not a grifter. I genuinely 100% believe that Jordan Peterson believes everything he's ever said, right? I don't think he's he doesn't come off as like, I'm not saying this to make him sound better, right? But I do not believe Jordan Peterson is the kind of guy to lie to make money, right? I genuinely believe that he probably really believes everything he's ever said, whether it's right or wrong.
List of brief histories on Jordan Beef Eaterson.
We'll see who cancels who. 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 We'll see who cancels who.
Oh, okay, hold on. I'm diverting a little bit here because I remember something else I was wanting to rant about too. Something I want to talk about is there's this guy on YouTube who makes like South Park and BoJack Horseman and other adult cartoon videos and stuff, breaking them down and stuff or explaining things, right? Called Johnny Two Cellos, right? And the videos are fine, right? But I cannot stand his outro song for the life of me. It's like a rap song about a guy who talks about cartoons and stuff. And it's just the cringiest thing to me. Like, you know what? I'm going to pull it up. Let me transition to my big face screen really quick while I pull this up. Because I just want to show you this, like, I cannot stand his outro song. Okay, no. Where is it at? I watch his videos every now and then and stuff. Surely he'd be at, like, you know, one of the recommended ones. You know, I know for a fact it's in my history, so we'll just go to my history. Let's see. West Blooms. Usually, yeah, I'm getting confused because usually, the guy, the TV review guy who said that he was hoping that the two voice actors who played the two girls in Ellie and the other girl in Last of Us Part 2 was Quantum TV. But where the hell? Oh, okay, here we go.
Jimmy Vollmer.
Let me go to his outro. Okay. This is the song I'm talking about that I cannot stand for the life of me. To me, it's so cringe.
It brings a lot to the show.
I stay mellow watching Johnny Two Cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny.
See, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, right? Maybe I'm the crazy one, right? But the rapping about a guy who makes videos about adult cartoons, it sounds so cringe. Ah, shit. I just closed out that fucking window I had for fucking... for the fucking video I was watching with the fucking why fascists don't eat vegetables.
He was
Okay, so I did keep off where I left off. Okay, good. We're gonna go back to that, but yeah. But I just wanted to say that, like, the rap song about someone who makes videos about adult cartoons makes me cringe so hard. Hold on, I'm turning on my light now because we're at that point where it's getting a little too dark in here. But all right, back to tonight's scheduled programming.
Professor of psychology, and then at some point he turned evil and became a conservative talking head. I don't think we need to waste too much time on details. If you've come...
I wouldn't... Okay, this, right now, immediately sets the tone for the video in a way that I'm not going to enjoy, right? Because okay, here's my thing. I do not believe someone is evil because the idea of saying someone, either side for that matter, right? I would say it is cringy to call them evil for disagreeing with you politically, right? Like, either side of the spectrum. I would have the same response to that, same comment, if it was like, if this was a white guy with a beard and stuff, and he was like, yeah, and then Joe Biden became an evil Satan worshiper because he said transgenders were deserving to survive, and stuff. I would feel the same level of cringe as this person because they said that he turned into an evil conservative, right? But I will humor this video and keep watching.
I'm here already knowing about Jordan Peterson. Then you're just waiting for the bit about the benzo coma and the experimental facility in Russia. And if you come here knowing nothing about Jordan Peterson, now you're just waiting for the bit about the benzo coma and the experimental facility in Russia.
I absolutely am waiting for the experimental facility in Russia. You have called me out on that one. I didn't know about that. Now I'm genuinely intrigued. Go off.
We'll get there. I mean, I guess some details are important. His PhD was on the psychology of addiction. That's gonna hit you in a moment. And he's always hated trans people. Just look at the way he says Elliot Page.
Elliot Page.
But he's not just a strange guy.
First off, I do still think to this day the most jarring celebrity, to me, that the Ellen Page to Elliot Page thing is such a weird one to me. I didn't see that one coming because I remember him now in fucking X-Men in the original X-Men movies, right, as Kitty Pryde and stuff. So it's weird hearing that the person who played Kitty Pryde is now a man. Throws me off still to this day. I'm not gonna lie to you on that one. But alright.
As we'll discover, his busy little fingers are in a bunch of
Also, I don't see how his way he said that. Let me skip back.
The benzo coma in the experimental facility in Russia. D was on the psychology. Look at the way he says Elliot Page.
Elliot Page.
But
I don't see how the way he said that implies he hates transgender people. I mean, I know he does. By all means. I know for a fact he is very anti-transgender, all that stuff, right? But I don't see how the way he said that clarifies that. I don't get that one. You lost me on that.
He's not just a strange guy. As we'll discover, his busy little fingers are in a bunch of conservative little pies, and his role in the fascist ecosystem goes way beyond just being an internet lolcow in an eccentric suit. And there is an aspect of Peterson that somehow, despite all the coverage and debunking and analysis and fawning and interviewing, still gets overshadowed. His terrible, terrible health.
I was fainting 5 or 6 times a day. I had gastric reflux disorder. I was freezing cold for about a month. I couldn't get warm no matter how much I wore. And I was snoring quite a lot. I couldn't stand up without fainting. Both hands and my feet were completely numb. I don't think I slept at all for something on the order of 3 weeks.
There's more if you can be bothered to dig. Peterson openly and relentlessly talks about his health issues, especially, and maybe this is refreshing, his mental health issues.
And I've had depression since I was 13, probably, and very...
Okay. Also, too, I want to address on this, right? Him just now saying he has depression, right? And this is something I've had to struggle with and stuff as an adult to understand, right? Because, I was raised in a house, right? When I was a kid, my mom was very much one of those people who, God bless her, but she didn't view mental health like this, right? She was the kind of person, she had me tested, and when I tested positive for ADHD, right, she didn't get me on any medication. As far as she was concerned, it was a matter of just, well, he'll just learn to focus, right? She'd be the kind of person that if you had anxiety, she'd be like, have you tried just calming down? Or if you had depression, if you said you had depression, she'd be like, have you tried just not being sad? You know, like, the idea, like, she was the kind of person that she felt like medication for these things, as far as I'm aware anyway, right? She felt like medication for these things was kind of ridiculous, because it's just like the idea that it's just like, you know, you could just teach your kid to calm down. You don't need to put them on pills. You know, you got depression. Why are you taking medicine? You could just stop being sad. You know, and I've had to work on that myself, because I have been in positions where I've heard somebody say they have depression, right? And my first thought is like, I even remember there was a girl I knew in junior high who I was friends with, who said she had depression. And my first thing I ever said to her was like, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Did someone you know die or something? Because I genuinely thought depression was just, she was just sad and having a hard time getting past the thing that made her sad, you know, which, you know, if that is something I would say is fair, you know, some people, you know, it's harder for them to get over certain things than others, right? You know, so I was just like, I was trying to be a friend, right? So I've not realizing it was a medical condition, right? But in my mind, I was just like, well, then let's make you not sad, you know? Let's figure out what's making you sad and get rid of that, because clearly it's not helping you. But all right.
Severe.
I do want to reassure you, I'm not going to laugh at anxiety and gastric reflux disorder. We have nothing but sympathy here for people with weird, seemingly unrelated and unrelenting symptoms, especially when those symptoms are coupled with something like depression. That's not why Peterson's health is worth talking about. His health is worth talking about because from quite early on in his new career as a talking head, Professor Peterson takes a notably hostile position to the science of nutrition, to medicine generally, and...
Hold on, I'm gonna cover my webcam for a sec, because I'm gonna adjust myself, because I'm laying on my side, right? And my arm fell asleep, and it's bothering the shit out of me. That and two, I also have a Pepsi down here. Here. I also have a Pepsi Zero I wanted to grab, but I also didn't want my boxers being shown on stream. Because I do not put pants on during my streams. Hold on, I'm gonna... Nope. I'm gonna switch to my... I'm gonna go to my BRB screen for a sec, just so I can make sure that it's just my face and upper body showing on my webcam. So give me a sec. Okay, we're good.
Oddly, for a psychologist, he adopts a particular hostility towards pharmacology, as we'll see. But in order to understand that, we need to talk about Michaela.
Beef, all lamb, salt, and water. I've been talking about this diet to spread awareness in hopes that the medical community can take something like this serious.
Michaela Peterson is Jordan Peterson's daughter, named after Mikhail Gorbachev. Because of course. I wanted to name our kid Ho Chi Minh. Michaela is a wellness influencer, a profession which you're going to understand just a little bit better if you commit to this video. In her dad's book, 12 Rules for Life, there's a whole bunch of print space dedicated to Michaela and the buttload of health issues which she has suffered from birth. These issues also seem to be vaguely in the domain of autoimmune responses, fatigue, dietary and digestive stuff, but in Michaela's case also organ and bone issues. Her father claims he always suspected the ultimate cause was dietary.
And my wife always had a suspicion that this was dietary related.
Why?
Well, we did notice that when Michaela was young, if she ate oranges, or strawberries, that she'd get a rash. And then when she developed arthritis, if she ate oranges in particular, that would definitely cause a flare.
And that I can sympathize with. As parents, we don't have very big data sets. 1, maybe 2 or 3 kids, if they happen to have the same stuff wrong with them, and we extrapolate from that tiny data set causes and effects, right? It makes sense.
Also, I'm just gonna say now, with what he just said about when she ate fruit, she got rashes. That's called an allergic reaction. That's not fucking like he's trying to say that it's like, well, yeah, it is caused by the fruit. It's an allergic reaction. It's not like, maybe, I don't know. Again, you might get into it. They might get into it on this video, right? But in my mind, I'm like, that's just an allergic reaction, my dude. Like, tell her to stop eating those specific fruits, get her an EpiPen, and teach her how to use it. You don't have to be like, see, it's the fruits given to us by the woke liberals that's making her have fucking AIDS. I know he said arthritis, but it's funnier to say AIDS.
Hence to see a rash and blame an orange. But the Petersons are so sure about everything. So, unfortunately, some miraculous and strange and unbelievable events follow, which are documented in Daddy's best-selling self-help book and become the basis of Mikhaila Peterson's own career. And all of these events fly in the face of the commonly accepted consensus on diet and nutrition. Mikhaila took up increasingly restrictive diets. First, she cut out gluten, then she stripped that back to just meat and greens, and ultimately she restricted her diet to only eating beef and salt and water. She claims to have come to that diet entirely on her own, but as it happens, there was already a thing called the carnivore diet. A thing which, owing to its near total restriction, fits most food conspiracies and is therefore theoretically applicable to any unexplained dietary issues. Look, let's say if we just believe Mikhaila, well, then the results of this diet were astounding.
Itch went away and my joints started to feel better. 4 weeks after that, I stopped crying in the morning. And 5 months after that, the anxiety lifted and I was back in what I felt was heaven compared to how I'd been living.
Everything from her chronic fatigue to her digestive pains to her anxiety and depression, all vanished. Also gone was her bone degradation, which had been so bad that she needed a hip replacement at 15. It seemed that just eating beef and salt had the power to cure the otherwise incurable. So I guess it was probably just a matter of time before Peterson the Elder adopted the diet himself.
And I never cheat.
Once again, the results were unbelievable.
I started waking up in the mornings. Like, oh, look at that. I'm awake in the morning and I'm clear-headed and things aren't gloomy and horrible. And my psoriasis disappeared. And I had floaters in my right eye and they cleared up.
If Peterson had started with a prolific set of horrifying symptoms, he now had an even more prolific set of amazing cures.
I stopped snoring the first week. I thought, what the hell? That's supposed to be associated with weight loss.
He's very invested, by the way, in monitoring weight and weight loss.
Then I lost 7 pounds the first month. Then I lost 7 pounds the next month. Then I lost 7 pounds the next month. I lost 7 pounds.
Okay, also, I'm going to say, too, with this, right, there's some context, right? What was he eating beforehand that would make it to where he'd lose 7 pounds a month by just eating beef, salt, and water? Because, shit, I could go to lose 7 pounds a month myself.
Pounds every month for 7 months. It's like I'd throw away all my clothes.
I don't want to delve too much into his psychology. That prospect is frankly terrifying. But given his preoccupation with order versus chaos and this predilection for restrictive diets and lifestyle practices, it's kind of a red flag that he monitors so closely his own weight.
50 pounds. It's like, first of all, I didn't know I had 50 pounds to lose.
And his daughter's weight.
She's very trim. She had a baby, but she's very trim. She's down to about 118 pounds.
And his wife's weight.
Tammy was always in good shape, and she's exercised a lot. And she reduced to the pure carnivore diet about a month ago. She lost like 12 pounds, and she was already slim.
Anyway, perhaps the strangest of all the miracle cures achieved by this all-beef diet is the psychological one. Peterson claims in this Rogan interview in 2018 that this diet cured his anxiety and depression.
Within a week, I was 25% less anxious in the morning. Within 2 weeks, 75%.
75% less anxious. That's quantifiable.
I'm better now, probably than.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll have to agree with her on that one. How do you quantify anxiety like that? Like, do you, like, is there a scale? Like, it seems almost like disability. This seems like mental health Olympics, really. Like, oh yeah, well my anxiety's 75% worse than yours. I scream at the void every morning. Like, what? My depression's 75% more than yours, dude. I tried jumping off my roof, but I landed on an awning. It just broke my leg. You haven't even climbed out your window. Like, what the fuck?
I've ever been in my life, and I haven't been taking antidepressants for a whole year.
Isn't that unbelievable? His highly restrictive diet cured his mental health problems. Look, it's the title of the Rogan video these interviews are from. Jordan Peterson's carnivore diet cured his depression? Unbelievable. That's really difficult to believe.
So I asked my doctor to increase the benzodiazepine dose, but what seemed to happen as a consequence of that was that I just got more anxious. I developed symptoms that I now recognized were associated with its use, like a feeling of detachment from people around me, people I loved, some decrease in the ability to experience joy.
This is
okay, I see the issue here, right? They're probably going to address it or say something about it in this video, right? But I'm going to go ahead and beat them to the punch for myself, and I will sit here and I'll be ready to be stand corrected, right? It's not that the beef cured his depression and anxiety, right? It's that no longer taking the medication that had the possible negative side effect of worse depression and anxiety is what did it. You know, it's kind of like, for example, right? Like, let's say you get, trying to think of a good example of this, right? Oh, I know. Like withdrawals, for example, right? In a way, you know, like you stop smoking crack and instead you switch to eating some pixie sticks every time you get hungry for crack. Still wanting to do some crack, right? You know, and stuff. It's gonna feel like hell at the beginning of the withdrawals, right? But, you know, after a while, you're gonna stop feeling the need for crack and any shitty feeling you get from the aftermath of smoking crack. And he's basically saying the pixie sticks did it when really it's a matter of the not doing crack did it, basically. That's what I'm getting at here. It's not that the meat cured the thing. It's that basically lowering his dosage of the medication is what did it.
Exactly that time period. In this version of the story, in this candid interview between the two Petersons, the depression and most certainly the anxiety never went away. This was the time in which Jordan Peterson's addiction to benzos was at its worst.
I stopped taking them entirely and tried ketamine, which is a treatment for depression. Well, neither of those were a very good idea as it turned out.
Jordan Peterson was still Jordan Peterson. His apparently terrible mental and physical health continued to torment him. He was hospitalized in Toronto to try to kick benzodiazepine, at which point a new story unfolded. The Petersons claimed that he nearly died several times from what the medical system did to him in the West. They claim he contracted pneumonia in the hospital in Toronto, and that the detox treatment there was making him worse, not better. So, Michaela and her husband at the time, who was a Russian national, gained an emergency visa via the Russian consulate, and they flew Jordan Peterson to an experimental facility in Moscow where they put him in an induced coma for 8 days. And then he finally kicked his benzodiazepine addiction. Take that, Western medicine! Not that it was easy for Peterson, of course. He experienced terrible side effects from all of this.
I couldn't type because I couldn't remember how to put my hands on the keyboard. I couldn't walk up and down stairs because I couldn't see the stairs properly. I couldn't do up buttons. I couldn't remember how to lay down. I tried for about 40 minutes. I couldn't remember the sequence of actions that would enable me to lay down.
Don't try it at home, I guess. The reason for the slow tapering that Toronto medical professionals insisted on, by the way, is to reduce the chances of relapse, and also because an induced coma is incredibly extreme and dangerous. Speaking to Vice on the subject, a couple of different Canadian health professionals pointed out that there are clear holes in the story that the Petersons tell. This is not an accurate depiction of how addiction treatment works. But then, has any of this been an accurate depiction of medicine, of nutrition, of science? Michaela Peterson is still a wellness influencer, still promotes and apparently consumes the all-beef diet. She also sells supplements under the banner of Fuller Health. She's currently promoting this one, After Party, which is supposed to help your liver health after you've been out on the town, having a couple of drinkies. Did I mention that apart from beef and water and salt, according to Michaela, the only other things her body can process are vodka and bourbon? Isn't the body an amazing thing? But what of Jordan Peterson, you ask? What was it all about? Does he really only eat beef? Has he really been this sick? What's the deal with his voice? Well, I can tell you Professor Jordan Burnt Peterson does not sell supplements. And he doesn't make money from just promoting the all-beef diet. No, what he's selling is far, far more ambitious. Far darker. Far stranger. But in order to understand that, we need...
Okay, hold on. I want to just say I like this giving of her setting up the set as the video progresses. I like that a lot, actually.
Need to understand all of the grifts.
Liver is king! Liver king, liver king, liver king here. I've been working out for the last 35 years. The last 15 of those years, I've been living an ancestral lifestyle.
So the Liver King was on steroids. Surprise!
Because I fucked up.
I mean, you probably spotted that. Like, all of the gym bros with insane results take steroids, even if a lot of them don't get caught. It's an old grift. Like, do you remember Hulk Hogan? He used to say his success was based on his work ethic and supplements and daily prayers. But it was steroids.
Because I fucked up.
I don't think the Liver King's personal ethos was a myth. He says he was a kid who grew up with a widowed single mom. He had a
Jesus Christ, this is a 5-hour video? Holy fuck, I am not reacting to this all on stream. It doesn't be that long. And we're just at the ass end of the intro. Holy shit. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna do my Duolingo. And I'm gonna call it a day on this. And then hold on, I'm gonna send this to my fucking friend that sent it to me originally. So he like, so I don't like. There's no way I'm reacting to this on fucking stream. Good lord. Yeah. No. No. We're gonna go do my Duolingo and then we're gonna pick someone to raid. Because also I've been streaming for about 2-ish hours, and that's roughly around the amount of time I do it. Yeah, we went down where I was. Alright. Close that window out. You know what? One last thing I'm actually going to do beforehand. I'm going to go ahead and get my YouTube music tab open because I'm going to put, obviously, whenever I go to raid someone, I'm going to put some music on while I look for someone to raid. But alright. Yeah, I'm going to send this over. Let me transition this back. We're gonna do my Duolingo.
El caballo.
La pelota. Caballo.
Pelota.
¿Tú corres mucho? Corres. Corres.
Oh, okay. Knew you run a lot. Okay. That was what's confusing me. For some reason, I'm so used to gusto mucho together. So in my mind, I thought this is, do you like to run a lot? Do you like to run a lot? You know, I didn't realize it was just, do you like to run a lot? Well, do you run a lot?
¿Dónde está el río?
Where is
Río.
the river?
¿Cuándo corres?
¿Cuándo corres otra vez, Julia?
Río.
¿Te gusta montar a caballo?
Do you like...
Te gusta montar caballo.
Oh, do you like riding? Okay. Horse, a horse.
Tú montas a caballo a menudo.
Do you
Montas.
ride horses often?
Monta.
Mis hermanos.
Mis hermanas montan a caballo cerca de la playa.
Nosotros siempre caminamos cerca del río.
Always
Caminamos.
walk close to the river.
Normalmente.
Normalmente mi abuela camina en las tardes.
Montamos. Caballo.
Oh.
A caballo. Cerca.
No.
Del río.
Ellos quieren montar bicicletas en el parque.
Mis hermanas montan a caballo cerca la de la playa.
All right. We're gonna close that out. And then we're gonna transition to my buy screen. I'm gonna pick someone to raid, and I'll see y'all next week. My rant I use for context. Where's my phone? Oh, here's my phone. I just want to show y'all something on my phone real quick before I go. Right. So here's how I pick my streams and stuff that I'm gonna do. Right. I have this randomizer app on my phone here, right? And I tap this, and this is the list of all the things I do on my streams, right? So I got Zenless, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Uma Musume Pretty Derby, Landfill Lounge, Honkai Impact 3rd, Wuthering Waves, and and Wuthering Waves, right? You probably can't really see that too well, but still. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong screen. Let me transition to this. Yeah, see, and then whenever I do my stream schedule, I hit randomize, and then I enter that into my calendar so I know I'm streaming that day. Like for example, like I'll show you like calendar here. Calendar. See, and then that's my calendar. That's my stream days, and so because of that, yeah. So tomorrow, Tuesday, I'll be streaming Wuthering Waves for my first time on stream, and then after that, I'll be streaming Honkai Star Rail the next day. Okay, no, it's the week of the 21st and 22nd. They have 2 Uma Musume streams, and a back to back. But all right. Let's transition to my buy screen, and then I'm going to pick someone to rate on Twitch, and then I will see you all on Tuesday for some Wuthering Waves. Bye, everybody.
Was a mistake. So stick a vacuum in my feet.